Hello everyone, my name is Azatru, how are you, and welcome to another Star Wars gaming video. In this one I'm going to be sharing with you everything we know about the next EA Star Wars game, codenamed Project Maverick. From its supposed reveal and release timeframe to leaked music and artwork, this video is going to be your definitive, in-depth guide to the next EA Star Wars game. Make sure you watch until the end of the video so you don't miss any of the information about this game. Let's get started with what this game is on a basic level. As you might have guessed by the codename, the Top Gun Connection, Maverick is a flight simulation game, so it probably will be focused on flying starfighters. Fans of classics such as X-Wing, Rogue Squadron, or even Battlefront 2 Starfighter Assault Mode are going to be absolutely right at home with this game. I also have some extra evidence if you aren't convinced about it being a flight sim. So last year, EA asked the community of the flight sim game Ace Combat if they would like to apply to be a game balance specialist for a game that is in the same genre as Ace Combat, and it just so happens to be at the studio that is making Project Maverick. Coincidence? I think not. The job listing even specifically stated expert knowledge of Battlefront 2, Battlefield 1 and Battlefield 5 is required. Bespin Bulletin, who have been very reputable regarding Star Wars film, show and game leaks, did say that it is going to be a combat flight simulation game according to their sources. You might be wondering, how did we find out about the codename? How did we get the logo? How did it leak? Well, on March 4th this year, a Twitter bot that shares games that have been added to the PlayStation Store database found a file just called Maverick. The file included artwork, some music, and a bit of data. We can actually use these leaked assets to answer another big question you might have. What era will the game take place in? Using the artwork and music, we can establish it will be the original trilogy at least. This artwork displays the game's codename logo, plus a Star Destroyer, along with a squadron of 4 X-Wings in attack formation heading towards it. The red location is striking, and instantly people speculated it would be Mustafar. However, we don't have an idea what that planet is right now. We can see that there are asteroids or rocks falling, and some other large rock formations. Moving on to the music. So there was some background music for the PlayStation 4 store page in the file. I can't play it all because of copyright reasons, but the 48-second clip is a section of the Princess Appears track from Star Wars A New Hope, and just as it hits the Force theme, it plays a different note and ends. This could just be a placeholder, but it does give us more of an indication of the original trilogy being the main focus of this game. It just gives those vibes off. Now for the text included with the file. It says Maverick Beta, which made people assume a beta was coming, but the game is far off from a beta and release from what we know. More on that later on in the video. This means that text is probably just a generic placeholder piece of text for a pre-release version of the game. It could have just been alpha, but the game is probably not even in a proper alpha or beta stage at this moment in development. It also lists PSVR is not supported, which if this is true, then that would be a real shame given how amazing the Rogue One Scarif VR mission was. The play together parameter has the number 5, meaning there is multiplayer in some way in this version of the game. The play together feature is where you can start a game directly from the party screen. The number 5 means a match of at least 5 people can be in a multiplayer game. It probably is more like 2 teams of 5, at least based off what we've seen other PlayStation games have. Of course, all of these parameters could change before release and are not final. This is all a work in progress, it's pre-release, but since the leak, it appears to have been removed from the database. I shall now move on to answering yet another question you might have. Who is making this game? It is Motive Montreal, who made the Battlefront 2 campaign, along with its resurrection levels. They also assisted with the cancelled Ragtag game and Anthem. It is possible Mitch Dyer, who co-wrote Battlefront 2's story, is helping to write this one as well, as he still works for Motive. Motive have been very open about making a new Star Wars game. They've had job listings going up for the past few years, and they haven't shied away from saying they are working on a Star Wars game on various accounts. But EA have never revealed any more details. However, Jason Schreier, a reputable games journalist, reported in January 2018, Maverick is a smaller project than Orca, the cancelled Scandal game that was post-Ragtag. That's a whole nother video. That whole situation is messy, but Orca was being developed just before Maverick, and then Maverick was birthed out of it. Jason went on to say that the aim was to release Maverick in late 2020 because there was a gap between Star Wars games after Jedi Fallen Order. There is a more up-to-date report on the release date, which I will get into in just a few moments. But now let's take a look at some words used to describe this game on a basic level that was put out in the media. The last thing someone at Motive said about the game was back in December 2019. Patrick Klaus, the general manager, stated that they are making a very unique Star Wars experience. Fast forward to a few days before Maverick was leaked, Jason revealed a Battlefront spin-off at Criterion had been cancelled. Then, a smaller, more unusual game is being made at Motive Montreal, that being Project Maverick. This next segment is where the excitement begins to build. Let's bring it to present day, and on May 28th, the new Motive Montreal Twitter account did tweet this out, which instantly raised some eyebrows. Jason Schreier quoted this tweet by saying, "It looks like someone is getting ready to announce a new game," and he did say that it is the Star Wars game he is referring to. EA Play is less than 2 weeks away, so it makes sense, right? But it seems like the reveal is coming much sooner. Jeff Grubb of VentureBeat stated that the game is going to be revealed on Tuesday, June 2nd. He used Mel Gibson as the tease. Mel Gibson was in a film called Maverick, and he replied to Motive's tweet with a gif of Tom Cruise as Maverick. This suggests Project Maverick is going to be revealed on Tuesday, June 2nd, and to add to this, Jeff apparently stated that he is 5 out of 10 excited for this game, which means we should keep our expectations in check ahead of its reveal. Despite this, I am excited because it's a new Star Wars game. We just hope it's going to be a good one. Personally, I don't think there will be much revealed on June 2nd. EA is probably going to be saving a lot for EA Play. It makes sense, it's their own event. We might get the official name, the release year maybe, and some details on June 2nd about the era, things like that, if it has a single-player campaign. But that's probably all we will get, or they may save some of that for EA Play. There is also another date you might want to keep your eyes on, which is in between EA Play and the expected reveal date. So on June 4th, PlayStation are hosting their PlayStation 5 event. Both first and third party games are expected to be shown here. This is just speculation, but it is possible we might see a little bit of Maverick here ahead of EA Play on June 11th. But at the same time, there is nothing to base these speculations off. It's just putting 2 and 2 together and getting 5. Several weeks ago, EA Star Wars did tweet out that EA Play is happening, but so did all of the EA social media accounts. So that at the time didn't necessarily mean a new Star Wars game was going to be getting announced for definite, but seeing what we've heard now since then, I bet that there is going to be something at EA Play on June 11th. Speaking of next-gen consoles, even if it won't be at the PS5 showcase, we probably will be getting a PS5 and Xbox Series X version alongside current-gen and the PC, just like most games coming out after these consoles have been released. We already know that Xbox are demanding every single developer to make an Xbox One and Xbox Series X version. It can't just be on the new console. With the fact it's going to be on next-gen consoles, this means it's probably going to be one of the best looking Star Wars games we've ever seen in terms of graphical fidelity. We don't know if it will use Frostbite like Battlefront, but I think it is highly likely given that most EA studios do use Frostbite, and Motive use Frostbite to make both Battlefront 2 and Anthem. There is one last thing we need to discuss, and that is the release date timeframe. As I mentioned earlier, the target release date was 2020 back in 2018, but it appears that it might have been pushed back. Bespin Bulletin stated that their sources say the next EA Star Wars game releases in 2021, which lines up with what EA said during an earnings call. EA said that the next Star Wars game would release between April 2021 and March 2022, which basically means November 2021 based on what we've seen in previous years. Despite the fact we have strong indications that it will release in 2021, this could all be wrong. It looks like it has been pushed back from this year to next year, which is a real shame. But who knows, maybe it gets moved forward. We just have to wait a few days to find out, hopefully. With that being said, this concludes everything we know about Maverick. I really hope this game is a good one. It's much needed now. Battlefront 2 is no longer going to be getting support. Let me know down in the comments your thoughts on anything I've discussed in this video, and if you don't want to miss any Maverick news videos next week, I'm going to be covering it extensively. Please subscribe and turn notifications on, and if you enjoyed this video, please do drop a like to support the channel. Thank you so much for watching this video. Check out any of the 2 previous videos on screen, and I shall see you in my next Maverick video. Goodbye.